A lovely evening to you and welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I am Norlin Ebel Ame. Let's begin the news with the fake. A meeting of the Federal Executive Council, the highest policy decision-making organ of the Nigerian government, is now underway in the State House. President Muhammadu Buhari is presiding over the meeting being held for the fourth time in the year 2020. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that various memoranda from ministries, departments and agencies are slated for consideration and possible approval. Some ministers are also expected to give account of their stewardship in the first 100 days of the next level agenda. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo and other members of the council are in attendance. Decisions taken at the meeting will be made public at a media briefing by the ministers concerned. Now to Senate. The Senate has considered the bill that seeks to establish the Nigerian National Commission against the proliferation of small arms and light weapons in Nigeria. The bill, which has been passed through second reading, seeks to establish an agency that will specially responsible for monitoring the movement of small arms and light weapons and to prosecute offenders. The Nigerian Civil Defense Academy Pandogari Niger State Establishment Bill was also passed through second reading. It seeks, among other issues, to provide highest academic qualifications and professional training for men and officers of the Nigerian Civil Defense Corps. The Federal University of Environmental Technology Ogoni River State Establishment Bill was also passed through second reading. The institution, when established, is to provide academic and professional approach to ensuring environmental sustainability in Nigeria, especially the Niger Delta region. Also passed through second reading are the Police Academy Establishment Bill Within and Tertiary Education Trust Fund Act Amendment Bill. Participants at a one-day public hearing on sexual harassment of students in tertiary institutions Prohibition Bill 2019 are seeking the expansion of the bill to include primary and secondary schools as well as work and worship places. The public hearing is part of the process for enactment of bill in the National Assembly.
The issue of sexual harassment has remained on the front burner in tertiary institutions across the country, prompting the Deputy President of the Senate's motion on the matter, which was subsequently referred to the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters after passing the second reading. Now a public hearing on the matter was held where human rights groups, religious bodies, the civil society organizations, students and members of the academia, among others, had the opportunity to make inputs. The submissions were unanimous that the bill is coming at the right time, noting that it should not be restricted to tertiary institutions, but also seek to protect Nigerians in every sector.
Then, sexual harassment of students by educators have reached epidemics in Nigeria, and that is one of the reasons why we support it.
When students lock up lecturers, and they say, well, we have to hear. If you don't review our scores, we will release it to the public. What have the students done?
This is about fishing out those ones who are intimidating and making education experience in tertiary institutions a nightmare.
The committee explained that the bill does not seek to target any group, but to sanitize the use in the tertiary institutions and others.
Somebody talked about the need to also address the issue of cultism and the extent to which they are also enhancing sexual harassment.
Our interest is to build a society where all will be free of intimidation and harassment.
Similar stakeholders at the Senate Committee on Health during the public hearing on the bill to repeal the National Health Insurance Scheme stress accountability, regulatory framework, and adequate funding for the health sector to be able to bring about the desired health care services to all Nigerians.
It is hoped that the proposed law will assist in our renewed drive towards the attainment of the universal health coverage.
We will work and strive to produce an act which assures health care for all, but will protect the poor and the vulnerable.
The committee, however, resolved to reconvene in 2 weeks' time for more input on the bill for an act to establish the National Commission for Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services for effective management of mental health.
Still on the National Assembly, the House of Representatives Committee on Public Service Matters has commended the Office of the Head of Service of the Federation for initiating capacity building program for newly recruited staff across government ministries, departments and agencies. The committee was at the Office of the Head of Service on its oversight function to ensure funds appropriated by the National Assembly are judiciously put to use. Permanent Secretary, Common Services, explained that out of 1.775 billion naira appropriated for capital budget in 2019, only 710.52 was released, representing 40% of the total amount budgeted. Having scrutinized the financial documents tendered by the head of service, the members raised some concerns and demanded explanations.
Given deadline by December 31st that all federal government agencies must be on the IPPIS platform. But we are just hearing from you that you have up to middle of this second quarter of this year before all MDS will come in.
The IPPIS has two components to it. It has the payroll component that is actually run by the Office of the Accountant General. And then it also has the human resource management component that is run by the Office of the Head of Service. And the payroll is what we've been trying to do, where everybody, Mr. President says that everybody must be paid through IPPIS.
The acting head of service also provided explanation on the proposed new appraisal form for civil servants.
Performance management system, where before an officer is assessed, the officer will be given targets by his or her superior.
The committee resolved to set up a 3-man subcommittee within 2 weeks to interface with the Office of the Head of Service with a view to addressing some of the issues raised, especially on expenditure. Let's join Ruth in Lagos for some reports on Nationwide. You are on, Ruth.
And welcome to Lagos. Recent statistics reveal that Lassa Fever has been reported in 19 states across the country, and the first case in the current outbreak in Lagos has been confirmed. Joy Ken Abakboya is standing by with a situation report from the Lagos University Teaching Hospital, Idiaraba, where the male patient is receiving treatment.
Thank you, studio. Since the news of a resurgence of Lassa Fever broke in 2019, Lagos residents have been apprehensive of the disease spreading to the state, and the state government have been putting measures in place to ensure the disease does not get into the state. However, the first case of Lassa Fever has been recorded in Lagos, and the patient is currently being managed at an isolation facility in the Lagos University Teaching Hospital. In a telephone conversation, the chairman Medical Advisory Committee of LUTH, Professor Wasiu Adeyemo, confirmed to me that the patient is here and he is doing very well. Dr. Yowen Akase is a consultant infectious disease physician with LUT, and he's currently managing the first case of Lassa fever this year. Doctor, what is the situation exactly with the patient?
Okay, yeah, so this young man doesn't stay in Lagos primarily. He's resident in another part of the country. So he came into Lagos for a function about 10 days ago and developed symptoms while he was in Lagos. So when he came, we suspected Lassa and we tested him and it was positive. And we admitted him into the isolation area away from other people. And we started treatment. So far he has responded very well. And for now we don't anticipate that there's going to be any issues with him. We've informed the State Ministry of Health, the Commissioner and the Epidemiology Unit. So what they've done is that they try to trace all the places he's been to in Lagos and all the people he's been in touch with. And they are following them up. So far, we don't have anybody who has come down with symptoms yet. We're going to follow them up for the next 2 weeks or more, 2 to 3 weeks. And anyone that has similar symptoms will be tested. And then if it's positive, it will be that. For now, he's not a resident in Lagos. And he didn't really go to many places. So for now, we're not expecting that from this case, other residents in Lagos may be particularly at risk. But the State Ministry of Health is doing a good job at following up everyone that came in contact with him. And I'm sure if anybody was infected on the line, they will be picked up very, very soon.
Well, the news of the outbreak of Lassa fever in Lagos is not going down well with residents, and many of them are beginning to take seriously the advice of the Ministry of Health to maintain proper hygiene.
Now that it's in Lagos, we have to have our guard up, we have to take care of ourselves, our hygiene, and it's honestly just a very sad situation.
We should take a serious precaution, just like bird flu and Lassa.
I should be observing my movement and do things the way that I can take care of myself.
That means I have to be extra careful, twice as careful than I was yesterday.
That's it from here. We'll bring you more updates as details unfold. It's back to you, studio.
Thank you, Joy. And still staying with health, Nigerians have been charged to cultivate the culture of voluntary blood donation at least once every year. Annie Daniels reports that this was re-echoed at the Nigerian Red Cross Society Blood Donation and Awareness Program in Lagos.
Though relative success has been recorded in creating awareness among Nigerians on the importance of engaging in voluntary blood donation, the Secretary of the Nigerian Red Cross Society Lagos branch, Olakunle Lasisi, says more still needs to be done to put phobia away from people who still do not appreciate the aim of voluntary blood donation.
Most times, there is surgery every day and there are accidents from time to time. So that's the more reason why we have to do blood drive all the time.
This is why the organization, in collaboration with the Lagos State Blood Transfusion Service, organized this program.
Our donation period is just 1 pint. That is about 450 mils. It is less than a sachet of pure water. But per year, you can donate every 3 months, making it about 4 times a year. Within 3 weeks, you are sure that the red cells that you are giving out to people are already becoming more mature and getting back into your system.
And for these voluntary blood donors, their aim of engaging in the exercise is simply to give life to another.
I know on a daily basis, a lot of people need blood in the hospital, those who lost blood during accidents.
So I've been donating since like 1997. Last year I donated 4 times.
Why that, sir?
I just feel happy doing that. For people I don't know, I just feel happy.
Blood donation medical experts say is painless, lasts only a few minutes and not detrimental to the donor's psychological, physical or mental health. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTN News.
Now, away from health, there is a new spectrum of excitement along the Lagos-Ibadan rail corridor as the free train ride along the axis is not only fast-tracking mobility, but giving an insight into the federal government's determination to connect cities in the quest to spur development. Michael Olaleye reports that from all indications, all challenges ranging from movement of equipment to site to removal of structures inhibiting the port from being accessed by the rail are being precisely addressed.
With the level of work done, Ibadan is just a stone throw, and travelers like Yekini Oyebami did not only demonstrated their preference for the rail system, but believe the achievement recorded so far in the rail sector is commendable.
What the federal government led by President Muhammadu Buhari is doing, if we are having this kind of opportunity rise from years ago, Nigeria will have moved more faster than what we are having today.
There was no distraction and it was peaceful. If you want to rest your back, you can rest your back and straighten your legs.
You can see the modernization. You can see a lot of comfort that abounds on board.
As the clock ticks, bringing closer the date of delivery of the Lagos-Ibadan rail line, the contractor handling the project is not just intensifying efforts, but devising new ways of overcoming obstacles. The ever-busy Lagos traffic is one of such obstacles. This is, however, being addressed as the rail line is now serving the mobility purpose for construction materials. As the challenges are being surmounted, new ones are emerging, with the removal of structures along the Apapa corridor inhibiting access to the seaports.
We have already entered the port to do some works. We went there last time. You can see it's only excavation we did for like around 200 meters. We have already laid the tracks, completed the tracks there.
From records, more than 1,000 passengers have so far benefited from the free train ride between December 2019 and now. The prospect that the rail system will offer an escape route from the ever-busy Lagos road increase the belief that railway remains the transportation of this millennium. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NT News.
And that's our contribution from Lagos. Nationwide continues after this break. Don't go away.
Attention of the Nigeria Social Insurance Trust Fund has been drawn to activities of some unscrupulous fraudsters who have been using the fund's name, logo, and also photographs of events of the fund to defraud unsuspecting members of the public. We reiterate that the Nigeria Social Insurance Trust Fund does not demand to double money under any guise. NSITF is charged with the implementation of the Employees Compensation Act 2010, which enables compensation in the event of death, injury, disease, or disabilities arising out of or in the course of employment. Individuals, groups, or organizations that transact business with sponsors of such scams do so at their own risk. For more information, please visit our website on www.nsitf.gov.ng or call us on telephone number. Management Announcer.
From the creeks of the Niger Delta to the Atlantic Ocean, inland waters and beyond, activities of some unpatriotic Nigerians and criminals are, however, harming Nigeria and Nigerians. Say no to crude oil theft, pipeline vandalism, and illegal oil refineries. These criminal acts destroy the environment, kill maritime life, destroy the livelihood of farmers, fishermen, and reduce Nigeria's economy by billions of naira. Nigerian Navy patrols are working round the clock to secure Nigeria's maritime integrity. Support the Navy and say no to acts that destroy our collective resources. Stop these criminal acts. Blow the whistle. The long arm of the law will surely catch up with culprits. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Navy. Onward together.
It's like making a step while the world is going forward and the school is making a step backward.
The students, they sit on the floor, no chair for them. Even the classroom is nothing to write home about.
We have only one toilet and that toilet is not good.
Going to that toilet is an eyesore. 980 people using one toilet.
Coming on April 2nd, 2020, in the capital city of Abuja, the Ivory 8 Ball, a life-saving fundraising event featuring music and arts in aid of skin cancer patients with albinism. For participation and sponsorship, call Edidiong on 070-197-73352 or Chinwe on 090-559-61514. This event is powered by Nigerian Television Authority, TV Enterprises, Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN, African Independent Television, and Ray Power FM, Silverbird Television, and Rhythm FM. the Albino Foundation. The Ivory 8 Ball, for a worthy cause. Watch out.
Newcastle United travel to London for the second week in a row as they take on Crystal Palace in the league. Will they achieve the double over their hosts this season, or will Crystal Palace carry out their revenge? Find out as Crystal Palace hosts Newcastle United on the Premier League Live on NTA Network at 3:30 p.m. this Saturday. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Coca-Cola and Access Bank.
Welcome back to Abuja. President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the expansion of the Interim Management Committee of the Niger Delta Development Commission from 3 to 5. In a statement by Special Advisor to the President on Media, Femi Adesina, Professor Kedi Ponde is now the acting MD. Other members of the 5-man committee are Dr. Cairo Ojobo, Acting Executive Director, Projects, Mr. Ibanga Basi Itang, Acting Executive Director, Finance and Administration, Mrs. Caroline Nagbo, Member, and Cecilia Bukola Akintomide, OON, a former Vice President with African Development Bank, Member. The new Acting Managing Director, Kedi Ponde, is a Professor of Medicine of the Niger Delta University and former Provost, College of Health Sciences of the institution. President Buhari had earlier approved that the Interim Management Committee be in place till the forensic audit of the NDDC was concluded. As the investment of the federal government in the agricultural sector continues to receive a boost, experts on NTA's Current Affairs program Tuesday Live have expressed optimism that the step, if sustained, will not only make Nigeria food sufficient, but create millions of jobs for the teeming unemployed Nigerians, Doin Dia reports.
Before the discovery of crude oil in the 60s, agriculture remained the mainstay of Nigeria's economy, having the prospects that could propel the nation's industrialization plan. This for this reason, amongst others, that the federal government came up with the diversification plan. While extracting the outcome of the initiative in the last few years, guests on the program say the introduction of the mechanized farming, fertilizer subsidy, rice revolution, and financial grants such as agri-loan to farmers are all initiatives that could help to achieve the desired goal.
Mark you, this program started about 4 years. Mark you, some of these processing plants will also be geared towards export, not only internal consumption. And this, we are doing it with with the African Development Bank.
Agriculture is in the concurrent list, which you have the states, the local government, and the federal. And once we don't have synergy by the 3 tiers of government, for everybody to be doing something different, then we'll never get it right.
Private sector is also needed to partner with the extension services.
And some of these crops, like cocoa, for example, can be exported and we earn foreign exchange. So we really have to identify those value chains.
They encourage the youth to embrace the agricultural revolution for employment opportunities. In Abuja, Doin Dia, NT News.
Meanwhile, Nigeria is set to consume about 1.3 billion tons of milk annually, and analysis show that 60% of that is imported. The federal government has, however, set the ball rolling in the implementation of policies that will make the country self-sufficient in dairy production. Abdullahi Muhammad examines the case of Kaduna State as one of the dairy production hubs.
White gold, as it is called by those who have the conviction that dairy production is the next gold mine.
And any investor today that wants to come into this country should please study the indices of performances of the various sectors. I assure you the dairy sector is going to be number one.
Idi Mukhtar is not only a private investor who has a modern dairy farm, but a beneficiary of the fallout of a pen-to-paper agreement between Kaduna State government and a multinational dairy firm. The first phase of the project takes off with 1,000 nomadic farmers supplying milk to the firm, while the multinational milk giant provides technical assistance with a subsequent investment of 100 million euros.
Every farmer is a partner in this project, and by the grace of God, each of the farmers will receive his certificate of occupancy and will build the facilities to enable him to realize his full potentials.
Kaduna State government is supervising the project with keen interest and is planning to replicate it in 15 other grazing reserves within the state. The dairy farms involved in the first phase of the project are already experiencing swelling number of milkmaids, bringing in supplies of the white gold with collectors waiting to uptake. For Kaduna State, it could be a humble beginning, but with more dairy farms waiting to key into the project, national production of milk may hit record levels. In Kaduna, Abdullahi Muhammad, NTA News.
Similarly, the gap in milk sourcing and production locally in Nigeria will be bridged if the renewed commitment put in place by partners in the dairy value chain in Oyo State is emulated across the country. Dayo Ogunshola brings an overview of the project as well as new grounds being covered.
The collaboration is embracing innovations, raising the frontiers of the practice with entrenched benefit for operators.
We partnered with the Federal Ministry of Agric to ensure that we have more supply of raw milk, developing dairy in the urban and rural area. This narrative has allowed pastoralists to see the difference between having beef cows that will only have 1 liter and 10 liters. And today you see them in their huts. This is moving towards sustainability.
More capacity building and extension services are changing the dairy practices with improved knowledge of animal management and care among the local farmers.
The dairy development in Oyo State is developing fast because we are able to bring over 7,000 Fulani milk producers into the value chain dairy development.
When we started this program, we were throwing away the milk because it did not meet our quality standard. So we had to train them on every area of milk quality.
With a readily available market for pastoralists, there are indications that penchant for migration among them will be greatly reduced, thereby raising the bar of the entire value chain of milk production for local consumption as well as for export. In Ibadan, Tayo Gunshola, NTA News.
Joining me in the studio to discuss further on dairy production in Nigeria is Dr. Andrew Kwasari. He's the SA to the President on Agriculture VP's office. Dr. Kwasari, it's good to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, now from the reports we just watched on milk production, why do you think Nigeria is lagging behind in milk production and other dairy products?
Well, thank you very much for this question. It is a very important question. We need to understand that Nigeria lagging behind in dairy production or milk production and dairy and milk derivatives or dairy products is a combination of many factors. First and foremost, Nigeria as it is today is not fair to compare our own production with other dairy producers globally, because in every country where progress has been made on this, they are able to specialize as dairy farmers or beef farmers. So the situation in Nigeria is that we have the cattle being kept generally by our pastoral brothers who are mostly the Fulani of the Fulani lineage, and they keep these cattle traditionally. So there is no specialization to say whether or not the white Fulani is a dairy animal, or the red Moro, or the Sokoto Gudali, or Adama Gudali. So really, the case of Nigeria is that we need to reach a level where we have clear, distinct breeds that are for dairy production. What I'm saying is that we need to understand one of the key issues: which of these breeds have been designated or is being designated as a dairy breed. All of them have potentials. We first have to get to that point where we know the performance of all of them, and we say, okay, white Fulani is our dairy product, dairy cow, and then if we feed it and keep it under good husbandry practices, give it the best health care, we will expect X a number of liters from it. So that needs to happen first. So I think the first thing first is not to say we are lagging. We are yet to really get it organized, and I think the right thing is what is happening now. Organizing it so that we can know which of the cow are you comparing from Nigeria with the Frisian or with the Jersey or with the Simmental. We really need to determine first the potential, the real performance of the local cow, whether the Bunaji or the Redboro or the Sokoto and Adama Gudali or any other breed in this country. So that needs to happen first.
Okay, is there challenges in identifying the breeds that can produce to large quantity?
No, there is no challenge. What I'm saying first and foremost is that I have had people compare, and I've done this in the past. Say, oh, Nigerian cow gives 1 liter or half liter, while Frisian or Jersey cow gives the... So this is not the right way to compare, because we have specific husbandry practices that are efficient or necessary for dairy production. So some of these cows that we compare with our Nigerian Bunaji or Rainbow or Sokoto Gudali have all of these. They are been determined genetically to be the best. So I am not saying our own is not genetically good, but we have practical things that are lacking. The husbandry services that is needed, the husbandry methods, the way to keep a dairy cow is not happening in this country. And then the feed that is needed, the water, the health services. So all of these for me are the major issues that we need to deal with. Then we can say, okay, we are comparing the Sokoto or Gudali or the Adama Gudali or the White Fulani or the Red Bororo with Frisian. So these challenges that to answer your question direct, is that we need to deal with the challenges of husbandry, we need to deal with challenges of feeding, we need to deal with the challenges of health status, just as we provide health services to the human beings. Then we can begin to talk about dairy, and then only in that can we now say, do we need to improve or do we not to improve? You see, I've left the genetic issue. People always say the genetic makeup of the Nigerian cow. How do you know? Have you really kept the White Fulani and gave it the best that it needs, and then it gave you 1 liter or half liter? We hear that even with basic changes in availability to feed, which is supposed to be feed ad libitum. So if you give it, this very cow, White Fulani, can give you 6 to 10 liters, and you have seen it in the report from Oyo. So I think we just need to deal with the apparent challenges, and then we get into organizing. We need just to organize the livestock sector.
All right. Now, what is your view on the central bank policy towards blocking forex, to importers of dairy products?
Well, instead, I would like to comment, but I think it's not necessary to comment now, because we have received another memo or circular from CBN giving 5 of the 5 importers or so opportunity to continue to import. And if you look at it, these 5 importers, they control above 90% of the dairy importation into this country. So really, my own take on that policy is that I would like to see what are the KPIs, what are the performance indicators that are set for these companies that have been reissued importation licenses. I think we need to see the policy with the underlying data and the facts that, okay, for any of you guys, this is what you are importing today. Combine, you control over 90% of the importation. Mm-hmm. So that means we have full importation back on track. So if that's the case, for how long? And what are the indicators? What should be this incentive to have access to import should be tied to output or to performance that we will see. So I think maybe we should give CBN a little bit of time. They will come up to engage Nigerians to say, okay, listen guys, we have banned before, now we have unbanned, because we have defined clearly that these guys in the coming 2-3 years, these are the milestones that they will achieve in enhancing local productivity. We really need to support local productivity, but it has to be done in the right way. Milk is not oil. You cannot sink a rig and start pulling out milk. So there is a natural process, and I think the overarching policy of government, the National Livestock Transformation Plan, if implemented over 10 years, we should be in the right place to begin conversation around milk that is produced locally, that also includes all of our current farming families. And I like the governor of Kaduna where he said all of the farmers are welcome to participate.
We hope so, Dr. Kosari. Thank you for your thoughts on Nationwide.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I've been speaking with Dr. Andrew Kosari, essay to the President on Agriculture VP's office. Moving on now, Asmao is in our Sokoto Network Center, is standing by with reports from that axis. Over to you, Asmao.
Hello, Nolin. Good afternoon and welcome to Sokoto. Arrangements have been concluded for the hosting of the 2020 Yauri Regatta and Cultural Festival. Nuretan Kwakili, who was in Yauri to assess the level of preparation for the festival, which begins tomorrow, reports that Emir of Yauri, Dr. Zayan Abdullahi, also went round to see the arrangements.
Venues for the event were wearing a new look at the time of NTA News visit, as necessary structures have been put in place for the successful conduct of the festival, which include agri show, water sports and cultural performances. Some groups were also seen rehearsing preparatory to the event. The Emir of Yauri, Dr. Muhammad Zayan Abdullahi, who inspected the two major venues, expressed satisfaction with the arrangements put in place by various committees.
People are going to bring their display this evening and tomorrow, for us tomorrow. If you are seeing yourselves, people from Kenji are here today. They are going to put their wares there. Yes, I'm satisfied really.
The Emir also inspected the multi-million naira model fish market to be commissioned by the Minister of Agriculture during the three-day event. Dr. Zayan Abdullahi lauded the commitment of Kebbi State government for reviving the festival and assured of his commitment to its sustenance. The Emir assured cultural enthusiasts and the invited guests of a memorable experience throughout the event.
We are bringing a permanent site where we will be doing this regatta and the water display. And the permanent site, by the coming of next year, we are going to erect buildings, sheds, and even some accommodation there.
The 200 days old Yauri Regatta and Cultural Festival will be taking place between Thursday 20th to Saturday 22nd February 2020. From Yauri in Kebbi State, Nuratan Kwakili, NTA News.
The federal government has commenced the rehabilitation of Sokoto Ilela Road portion washed away by flood 10 years ago. Sheikh Muhammad Deti is at the site and give us an update on the work so far.
A very good afternoon, viewers. We are reaching you from Sokoto Ilela Road, a portion of the road that was washed away by 2010 flood here in Sokoto. But recently, the federal government, through the Federal Road Maintenance Agency, has commenced the rehabilitation of the washed away portion of the road. I have with me Federal Road Maintenance Engineer here in Sokoto, Engineer Aliyu Mohammed. Engineer, sir, tell our viewers, what is the progress of the work so far?
Okay, good afternoon. So far, we have completed the repair of the collapsed culverts. Okay, well, we completed the repair of the collapsed culverts of the Sokoto Ilela Regional Public Road. So our contractor has achieved substantial completion, and more so the other aspect of the work remains the repair of the face section of the road, which inshallah we're going to commence any moment from now, and we'll tackle all the face section from here to the border with Nigeria. Yes, sir.
So what will be the expected time of completion of the whole work?
No, in the next 2 months we will complete the work, inshallah, because this is the most difficult aspect of it. So other ones is the scarification and repair of the face portion of the road. So in the next 2 months, inshallah, the work will be finished. But this one, by next week, it will be open to traffic. This section, we want to cure it for 1 or 2 weeks. Then this section will be open to traffic. But other aspect of the work will continue.
Thank you very much. It's back to you in the studio for continuation of Nationwide. Good afternoon.
And that's our package from Sokoto. The news will continue after these messages. Please stay with us.
My name is Giato Adeza Adams, the General Manager, Corporate and Strategic Communications, Nigerian Port Authority. As regards the land borders closure, available statistical data from APMT, which is one of our terminal operators that is involved in container handling terminal, has recorded an increase of 200 TEUs of cargoes into their terminal as a result of cargo diversion from the vessels originally meant for neighboring countries. That shows you that the terminal operators is going to have an increase in revenue which is accrued to the terminal, and at the same time, Nigerian Port Authority will equally benefit from the revenue increase. So that is the benefit we have derived from the border closure.
Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online. Or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can beat the rich.
Newcastle United travel to London for the second week in a row as they take on Crystal Palace in the league. Will they achieve the double over their host this season, or will Crystal Palace carry out their revenge? Find out as Crystal Palace hosts Newcastle United on the Premier League Live on NTA Network at 3:30 p.m. this Saturday. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Coca-Cola and Access Bank.
Welcome back to our Abuja studio. Now, reinforcing the saying, the labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain, the Ministry of Defense has presented checks to the next of kin of personnel of the Armed Forces of Nigeria who died in active service. Naja'atu Tijani reports.
Gone but not forgotten. 184 military personnel who died in active service have left a legacy for their next of kin, who have now gathered from far and near to receive benefits accrued from the years of service of the departed. Binta Abdul Aziz Mohammed is one of the next of kin. The young widow lost her husband in an attack in Jakana town in Borno State.
Died on the spot. You have and how I have 3 children, 2 girls, 1 boy. Think now that I have someone to rely on. I have someone that will take care of my children.
Twice Sarah, Bodude, and a host of others who received checks for various sums of money to boost their welfare say they are grateful for the sacrifice of the fallen heroes. A sacrifice which the Ministry of Defense vows will not be in vain.
We know we cannot compensate you. There is nothing we can do to bring them back. But certainly the Ministry of Defense or the nation as a whole will not forget the services of your brothers, husbands, and your children.
Till 2014, military personnel were excluded from this gesture contained in the Pension Reform Act. But an amendment to the Act has made it possible for next of kin of the departed to benefit from the years of active service.
This initiative is courtesy the Life Assurance Program for the Armed Forces, aimed at providing succor for those left behind. It is expected to assure the future of Binta's 3 children, Sarah's 4, and other next of kin whose hopes are hinged on the sacrifices of their loved ones. Naja'atu Tijani, NTA News.
As Southwest governors give legal backing to the regional neighborhood security outfit Amotekun, Osun State government has commended the Inspector General of Police for his role in ensuring that the security initiative sees the light of the day. Governor Boyega Oyetola gave the commendation when he received the new Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 11, Bashir Makama in Oshogbo. Femi Afariogun reports.
Governor Boyega Oyetola is one of the Southwest governors striving to make sure the region's security network, Amotekun, is actualized. Receiving the new Assistant Inspector General of Police posted to Zone 11, Bashir Makama, Oyetola assures the police that Amotekun is going to work in close collaboration with the police to name crimes in the board.
I must commend the authority for being able to see where we're coming from, and I must commend again the IG for the initiative of the community policing, which is a very wonderful concept of ensuring that the locals have recruited into a kind of force that would complement the efforts of the professionals.
We have come to serve, and we want to feel the impact of this service on the people. That's why it's living safely.
The new Assistant Inspector General of Police was accompanied by the Commissioner of Police in Osun State, Johnson Kokumo. In Oshogbo, Femi Afariogun, NTA News.
All right, 30,000 refugee households taking refuge in Difa, Niger Republic, have been provided with food and non-food items by federal and Borno state governments. Mohammed Goni reports that Governor Babagana Umara Zulum personally supervised the distribution.
There are over 120 refugees of Borno extraction in Niger Republic, mainly from Abadam, Kukawa, Guzamala and Mobile local government areas of northern Borno, most of whom have been there for over 3 years. Governor Babagana Umara, assisted by the governor of Difa province and other officials of state government, distributed the relief items to the refugees. Professor Babagana Umara says 15,000 bags of rice were from Nigeria Customs Service, while Borno state government procured 15,000 bags of maize and same number of fabrics, as well as cooking oil in addition to 77 million naira. During a courtesy call on the governor of Difa province, Issa Lamin, Professor Babagana Umara appreciated the Nigerian government and Difa province for hosting Nigerians and the show of support. He noted that the presence of the Nigerian refugees has led to overstretching of water and health facilities and assured to complement efforts of the province in that regard. Governor Zulum also expressed willingness to build Borno House to accommodate Nigerian officials coming for engagement in Difa and assist with provision of social amenities, stressing further that Borno will continue to strengthen the relationship even after return of the refugees. From Difa province in Niger Republic, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
Time now to join Mina in Enugu. Over to you, Mina.
Hello, Nolan. Good afternoon and welcome to Enugu. Anambra State Governor Willie Obiano has sworn in the new Chief Judge of the state with a charge to ensure quick dispensation of justice in the state. Ndem Carlo reports.
Before now, the Chief Judge of the state, Justice Onochi Anyachebelo, was in acting capacity as the second Chief Judge sworn in by the present administration in the state. He is expected to be transparent and take Anambra judiciary to greater heights. Governor Obiano commended the state judiciary for the synergy between them and the executive and urged them to work towards decongesting the correctional services.
Certainly, we will take the Anambra State judiciary to the lofty heights. In his acting capacity, he was lucky for us to have an agreement. I believe that when he's writing his number, you can't deny that privilege to feel good.
Responding, the new Chief Judge promised to work assiduously to ensure quick justice delivery in the state.
We will do our best. We have constituted some of the magistrates will be doing intermittent visits to the detention centers to make sure that people's fundamental rights are not unnecessarily dealt with. So we hope that in the next few months, we will see some changes.
The swearing-in ceremony attracted members of the State House of Assembly, members of the bar, religious leaders, among others. From the Government House, Oka, Ndem Carlo, NTA News.
As rehabilitation works continue at Akano Ibiam International Airport, Enugu, there are strong indications that the encroaching Ore M&M market is yet to fully relocate to its new location. Amechi Piles, who has been monitoring rehabilitation work at the airport, has a situation report.
When the Akano Ibiam International Airport in Enugu was closed to the public in August last year, the closure was linked to the encroachment of the abattoir at the Ore M&M market and a communication mast sited close to the airport. The abattoir attracts birds who feed on dead meat, which poses a risk of bird strikes on aircraft. From what we can see, with few weeks to the March 31st deadline, you still have some people still slaughter rams and leave dead meat on the floor for vultures to perch on, and then they fly across the airport area. Even up to this moment, the Ore M&M market is fully operational, and then one is wondering, when and what the state government is doing to relocate this market from this present place where they occupy right now to another place within the state, so that this particular area will be free of any kind of birds that could disrupt aircraft from flying around this arena. Efforts to get the leadership of the market union to comment on efforts to relocate the market failed. NTA News also observed that parts of the fence of the airport have been pulled down, exposing contractors walking on the runway to the public, even from a close distance from the road. The runway is just a few minutes away to the road, the major road by my right here, from what you can see on your screen. That's the road, and this is supposed to be the fence. The barbed wire has been pulled down. It is only hoped that those fixing the airport will ensure a proper fencing that will stop people from going into this runway or the airport when it is open to the public by the 31st of March this year. In Enugu, Mechi Pius, NTA News.
And that's our bit from Enugu, Orleans. Back to you for a continuation of Nationwide.
Very well, Mina. Now, wrong perception and exploitation are some of the factors that constitute the major bane behind the slow-paced development in the power sector. Guest on Good Morning Nigeria, who gave this submission, called for increased funding and a power sector policy revamp. Daniel Adere tells us more.
While many Nigerians may feel largely dissatisfied with the power sector in Nigeria today, experts in Good Morning Nigeria say reviewing or revoking the current privatization of the power sector is not the way to go, but rather better options such as off-grid power generation, which they say eases the pressure on the national grid, should be explored.
We should not be in a hurry to take back this asset from these guys. Why I say so? The Nigerian political economy is a political economy of rent seeking and predation. New political guys are coming now to without any proven capacity to change things. I think when you are in a hole, don't dig. What we should do is to use regulation.
We need to carefully manage consumer expectation so that they don't resort to desperation. We should also now focus more on off-grid generation. Let's free the space. Let's be a bit liberal. Let's decentralize the power sector structure.
The experts further stated that as against the widespread notion of instant success in the power sector through privatization, much may not be achieved in this sector without adequate investment.
Unfortunately, we didn't deal with expectation management sufficiently. We didn't deal with perception management sufficiently before. The impression that a lot of Nigerians, if not all Nigerians, got was that the moment you privatize, from day one, electricity will become more available than it was without commensurate investment. And that is impossible.
They, however, advised Nigerians to desist from engaging in acts such as bypassing of meters, which contributes to the slow pace of development in the power sector. In Abuja, Daniel Aderiye, NTA News.
Our next port of call today on Nationwide is Jos, and she is in Zenre. Zenre, this is in Jos to give us an update of what is happening there. Hello, Zenre.
Hello, Nolan, and welcome.
We are having challenges connecting with Jos Network Center, and here in Abuja, moving on, Nigeria is also grappling with the global trend in malnutrition amongst children, prompting stakeholders in the health sector to embark on sensitization on breastfeeding. Kenneth Nanim was at one of such workshops in Abuja.
UNICEF report indicates that only 17% of babies born in Nigeria are being exclusively breastfed between the first 6 months of life, while 45% of them become stunted under age 5 due to malnutrition. Now, a collaborative effort is being championed to reverse the trend with a workshop jointly organized by JICA Alumni Association of Nigeria, Japan International Cooperation Agency, and the FCT Primary Healthcare Board.
We have very low breastfeeding rates
when we look at it critically, we feel there is need for us to do some sensitization.
Asian Akon, a health worker at the Paiko Primary Health Center, Wabulada, like other participants, are to extend the campaign on exclusive breastfeeding to their localities.
If you ask me, have you given water to the child? They said yes. So my work now is to tell them the importance of exclusive breastfeeding. No water, no other fluid for the baby until 6 months.
I learn a lot, and I'm going to implement based on my jurisdiction within the clinical setup.
The dangers of not breastfeeding the child is malnutrition, number one. That child may not be able to have the necessary immunity to withstand infection that comes.
The workshop is also discouraging some cultural practices that abhor feeding of babies with colostrum, the first breast milk, at delivery.
And that's why we have to be continuously educate our people, health workers and even the community members to come within the normal norms of healthcare delivery system. Feeding the children for their ages with breast milk and of course with nutritional supplements unto the age that they also grow.
Kenneth Nani, NTA News.
And to sports news now, Nigeria targets Olympic ticket at African Taekwondo qualifiers in Rabat. Ayodeji Makinde brings us details and more on sports update.
Nigerian taekwondists to the 2020 Tokyo Olympics qualifiers in Rabat, Morocco, are set to depart the country Friday as the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development sought out necessary documents for release of funds. The quartet of Chinazom Nwosu, Elizabeth Ayanacho, Benjamin Okumose and Ifeoluwa Ajayi will represent Nigeria at the main event February 22 to 23. 105 athletes from 36 African countries will be competing in 8 Olympic weight categories. In volleyball, as part of plans to support the sport in the country, the Nigeria Olympic Committee and Confederation of African Volleyball and its partners have presented equipment to the Nigeria Volleyball Federation (NVBF). NOC President Habu Gumel, while making the presentation at the board meeting of the NVBF in Abuja, tasked them on effective use of the equipment.
We want to appreciate CAVB. It will go a long way, especially our national team.
Away from volleyball, the FCT Football Association has assured on rejuvenating grassroots sports development with a newer focus on talent discovery in secondary schools in Abuja. Chairman FCTFA Adam Mukhtar Mohammed gave the assurance while restating the dedication to the growth of women's football in the city.
We've reached out to the school board and now we're on the drawing board trying to organize a format and a structure.
In a related development, FCTFA Cup champions Wako Academy are targeting an improved performance at the 2020 Nigeria Federation Cup after their 4-1 victory over Winko Foam FC in the final. With sports updates, Ayodeji Makinde, NTA News.
Ayodeji's sports story concludes Nationwide today. Thank you for watching. I am Nolin Ebel Ame.